Greetings, my beautiful lovelies. It's Emmy. How are you? It's great to see you and welcome back to yet another gadget test. If you missed my previous episodes of gadget testing, kitchen gadgets in particular, you should definitely check out the playlist. I have tested a number of doozies through the years, and today I'm going to be testing some that I found at the thrift store, many of which are as seen on TV gadgets that don't cost very much money, but I've always wondered, do they actually work? And that's what we're going to be testing today. I purchased all of these at my local thrift store and they all came in boxes, and I am just dying to know if they really work. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's try this one first. So I think from this box you can tell that this one is a vintage one. At least it is very faded. It is the K-Tel microchip maker. I paid $4.49 for it, and this is from 1995. So what does this do? This makes potato chips in the microwave. So this was back in the 90s when people were really worried about how much fat they were consuming. So something like this was super popular because you can make chips in the microwave with no fat or grease, no cholesterol. More flavor, makes perfect potato chips, wavy waffle chips, tortilla chips, steamed vegetables. So whenever I test a gadget, I think about what problem are they trying to solve? And it sounds like they're trying to solve the fat problem, and they're trying to make it convenient. So let's see if it really works. I've already washed everything in here, but I put it back so you could see the unboxing experience. So here is the main gadget, the microchipper. It has a lid, but you don't use this to make the potato chips. This is a steam cover. So if you want to steam vegetables, you place this on top. But to make the chips, you just use it like this. These two little trays are for later if you want to add a dipping sauce to them or some kind of dip. And that's the potato rack. And it comes with a handle here to help slide the potatoes over our little mandolin here. So it's a very bare bones mandolin to slice potatoes. And then they also give you one to create wavy potatoes. This is all one piece. There's no metal blade. I'm curious to see how well this one works. So that. And then on the back they show you like a waffle chip, which is made simply by changing the direction of the potato. So I'm very curious about that as well. So let's go ahead and slice some potatoes. Got a couple potatoes here that I've already washed. I'm gonna keep the skins on because I like the skin. And let's just do the regular sliced potato first. I'm gonna hold it like this to establish a flat part first. Oh, that's working really well. Look at that. So this is not adjustable at all. So it just makes that thickness of a potato slice, but all of them are going to be that thick. And I think that's going to be pretty important to get consistent chips. And the blade is very sharp. It's working great. So let's do some of those. Not having any trouble slicing through the potatoes. And now that it's getting closer, I'm going to use the guard to guide the potato through. Beautiful. Look at that. Perfectly sliced chips. Now let's try the waffle chip. So that looks a little bit thicker, to be honest. Let's see how it does. Ooh. Wow. Definitely thick cut. Really thick. And this one did not cut evenly. I was thinking that I'd cook some waffle and some regular ones at the same time, but they're not going to cook at the same rate because these are so much thicker. So I think I'm not going to do that. So to get a waffle cut, you slice this way first and then you rotate it 90 degrees against here, and we should get a waffle cut. Let's try it again. Turn it. Not quite. In the light, I can see a crosshatch pattern, but there's no actual perforations, so you don't get that kind of basket weave. That's disappointing. And oh, you get a little bit. You can see kind of it happening right there. But this is disappointing. Super thick. I would say 3 times as thick as the other slicer. and uneven. So I'm gonna stick with the regular slices. And because the original instructions were missing, I had to sleuth the instructions out based on other chip makers online. And it looked like the consensus was about 6 to 8 minutes if we have a full rack of chips. All we're gonna do is take our slices and put them into these slots. So this is a little bit of work. The slicer worked beautifully, but now we have to arrange the chips. Now, I did say the slicer worked beautifully, but some of these are not even. This is a little thin on top and thicker on the bottom. So curious, oh, this one especially, look at that. That could also be user error too. This is my first time using the mandolin in this setup, but I feel like that's always a factor. Okay, I might need some more extra slices. How many are fitting in here? I forgot to count. So 9 is about a quarter, so 9 times 4, so we're gonna get about 36 chips. Okay, every one is filled, and there we go. Look at that, that's pretty cool. Okay, now into my microwave oven for 6 to 8 minutes, and we'll see if we get chips. And if we do, how do they taste? Okay, be right back. All right. Okay. Hey, these look pretty good. Look at those. Wait, I think they need a little bit more. They're a little bit floppy still, and they smell like plastic. Ugh. So, a full 2 minutes later, I think we have chips. It smells like plastic, for sure, but it also smells like potatoes. Let me show you what they look like. So I took these out earlier and they had not developed this kind of brown color to them, but they were not quite dry yet, but now they feel dry. And they sound kind of crispy. So let's give them a little salt, even though the salt's gonna end up all over my countertop since these doesn't have a base. And here are the finished chips from the Meecrowave. All right, let's take one out and see how we did. Oh, they're in there pretty tight. So some of these puffed up, a lot of them puffed up while they were cooking, and they're hard to get out a little bit. Here's the finished chip. Look at that browning. I was trying to avoid the browning by looking at them every 30 seconds, but they weren't getting crispy without the browning. So let's give them a taste. Alrighty, my first micro chip. Itadakimasu. It's crunchy. Definitely crunchy. Looks like a chip, but does it taste like a chip? No. It's definitely crunchy, but it's missing that oily flavor that I associate with chips. And the crispness is a little bit different. It's like a desiccated crunch rather than a oily crispness. It's like a dry, crackery crispness. Although it is crispy, I'm gonna try putting more salt on it. Maybe that's what we need too, some salt. The salt definitely helps. It enhances the potatoey flavor, but it doesn't taste like a standard potato chip. That's disappointing. I'll pass on this one. I'd rather have a baked potato if you want to do a fat-free thing. Just make a potato in a jacket and then douse it in butter. Womp womp. Alrighty, lovelies, let's try another microwave cooker. It's called the Yummy Canned Bacon. I've wanted to try this since I've seen it. I'm not a huge fan of microwaving things for cooking, but then this is microwaving bacon in plastic. Again, not a huge fan of cooking in plastic, but when I saw this some, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, I said, I can see why that would be interesting, because when you cook bacon in the microwave, it spatters all over the place. I did do that as a latchkey kid. I did cook bacon in the microwave. I put it in between layers of paper toweling, put it in the microwave just for a piece or two of bacon. But this, you can cook half a pack, I think it's 8 pieces of bacon at once in this thing. And what's interesting to me is the way you cook it from this kind of hanging rack situation. So here is the can. There are 3 pieces. And this one comes with instructions. So 3 pieces, plastic with some venting, a base, and a rack to hang the bacon from. And this one is dishwasher safe, so went ahead and did that. And you basically just drape your bacon onto this rack, cover it, and microwave it. And it does give you a chart for times based on the wattage of your microwave. So it looks like I'm going to be putting 8 pieces in for about 6 minutes. You don't have to cook the entire rack load. It gives you different times depending on how much bacon you want to cook. 1 piece up to 8. But I'm doing the full 8. So here we go, draping the bacon. And the idea is, what problem is this trying to solve? It's trying to solve the spattering of the bacon, I believe, and collecting the fat. The fat will collect in the tray below. So there's that. But I think mostly it's to keep the microwave oven tidy. And it does say that if you use a thicker style cut of bacon, it will take longer. If you use fewer pieces, it will take less time. So here's our setup. Look at that. Okay, now we place the lid on the can, the yummy can. And on the top here, there's a little vent for the steam. And then we just put it in the microwave and cook it. So 8 minutes, lovelies. We'll see you in a few. Ooh, definitely smells like bacon. And I hear sizzling. All right, lovelies, let's see what we got. Oh, look. Ooh, look at that. That looks terrifying. Is bacon grease supposed to be that color? Why is it fleshy colored? Never mind. Look at this bacon though. Ooh. I think the bacon might be perfectly cooked. So I poured out the liquid that was at the bottom of this tray, and just out of curiosity to see how much I got, and it looks to be about a half of a cup, a little more than a half of a cup, almost 2/3 of a cup. But look at this color. I'm concerned somehow. It doesn't show up as well on camera here, but in person this looks a lot pinker. I always have associations with bacon grease being kind of clear or white, not pink. But the bacon does look cooked. Look. I think this is a good example of cooked bacon. I think that's perfectly cooked. It smells mostly like bacon and a little bit perfumey, plastic perfumey, but let's give the bacon a taste. Here it is. Perfectly cooked. Itadakimasu. I love bacon. The ends are the crispiest. Smoky, porky, fried. This is the flavor that, or this is somewhat the flavor that was missing in the potato chips. That fatty flavor. Really good. So there's all the bacon we got. It all came off the rack easily. This looks a little bit gross. You know, it's got lots of oil and bits of meat and stuff, but it's dishwasher safe, so you can just toss this in your dishwasher, including this. I like to save some bacon grease to cook things with. I love cooking potatoes in bacon grease, for example, but if I'm not saving it, then I wait for it to solidify and then I throw it in the trash. Do not pour bacon grease down the drain. It's just a headache for yourself and the plumbing of everyone if you're connected to sewer. But this worked beautifully. It worked beautifully. I have 8 pieces of bacon here. It took me 8 minutes and 30 seconds to cook it, which is no time whatsoever. Okay, lovelies. I did find a couple other things. I found an ice cream sandwich maker and a vegetable pasta maker, but I don't have all the ingredients for these to test, so this will have to come in a follow-up video. Let me know down in the comments if you want to see the results of these ones, but I do have everything for this one, and this is micro s'mores. Now this does not look as old as the other 2 that I tested, but it does say as seen on TV. Have you seen this on TV? The micro s'mores. Why do we need a micro s'mores? Not really sure what problem this is solving. I've made s'mores in the microwave so many times, and I did not have a micro s'mores. So curious. Oh, it says no fire, no burning, no mess. Okay, that's what it's supposed to be solving, the problem. Okay, bought this at Savers, whopping $6.49. Why was this one so expensive? Maybe because it looked newer. This one is brand new and comes with a recipe booklet. That's nice. Oh, this is from 2008. So this is not exactly new. 18 years old, even though it looks great. And here's the micro s'mores. Oh, it's like a press. I like how this looks like a marshmallow though. That's cute. What recipes do we have in here? Okay, different combinations. Coffee bean surprise, New Year's peppermint sticky, strawberry sweet tart. Okay, so just different combinations of s'mores, I guess. Yeah. Campfire classic. That's what I'm interested in. As some of you may know, I'm not a huge s'mores fan. I don't really like them. I just like toasting the marshmallow. I love toasting the marshmallow on the campfire and to a perfect golden beautifulness, but I don't really like eating marshmallows. I like chocolate. Position the ingredients in the center of the base of the micro s'more cooker as shown. Secure the ingredients by placing the top with a plunger. Put micro s'more cooker in the microwave and cook on high for 10 seconds. Power of microwave ovens vary. Do not overheat. Remove, and then remove the s'more. Now, I like to put it face down. So this is the inside. And then I'm going to put the chocolate. Oh, that's nice. Marshmallow. And then graham. Okay, maybe I do get it. Maybe because if you were to microwave it like this, there's potential that this could fall, you know, tip over. But not with the s'mores maker. You just put this on top. And this little plunger holds everything together. This actually might be kind of ingenious. Okay, 10 seconds. Let's go. Oh, 10 seconds. I had some spillage. So maybe my microwave is a little bit strong. I don't know. But I got a s'more. All right, I gotta taste it now because here it is. Itadakimasu. I mean, it's good. I know I just said that I'm not a fan of s'mores, but that, I mean, how can you chewy, fluffy, generous amount of chocolate, warm yet crunchy still. It's perfect. Campfire s'mores are a little bit better because you get that nice toasty, smoky flavor from the campfire. Having said that, perfectly oozy and gooey. 10 seconds, hard to beat. And everything stayed together. Now let's test it without the s'more maker and see what happens when we just use a plate. Okay, 10 seconds. Okay, 10 seconds. Ooh, that might be even more perfect. I think that was in there more for like 9 seconds. So not as oozy as the other one. And that looks like a pretty perfect s'more. This side looks a little underdone. But it didn't topple over, it didn't fall, it didn't make a mess. Ooh. My chocolate isn't melted though either. So maybe those extra 2 seconds are important. That looks pretty good. Let's give it a taste. Here we go. I don't know if I'm quite converted, but s'mores are pretty great. I've also not had my lunch yet, so I'm hungry. But I think I just proved that you do not need a micro s'mores to make a good microwave s'more. I do have to say that the micro s'more gadget created, I think, more of a steamier environment because the chocolate was more melty in here than it was on the plate. I think that's due to the moisture that's in the marshmallow, the cracker, and the chocolate. Steams the situation a little bit, so the chocolate got a little bit more melty, which I appreciated. But it's sort of like splitting hairs. I mean, once you just combine all of these together, it's going to be delicious. And you don't need a gadget to make it in the end. Now I just realized All the gadgets I reviewed today are microwave cookers. Do you need the gadgets to cook the items? In the s'mores case, you do not. In the baking case, you do not, but you will end up with a lot of greasy paper towels, which if you're fine with, that's fine. You also have to kind of figure out the proper cooking time for your microwave, which is true for all the gadgets at any rate. So technically you don't need the bacon cooker to make bacon in the microwave either. And the potato chip maker, I've also seen a method where you can use paper towels and some oil that's brushed on thinly sliced potatoes to make potato chips, but I wouldn't recommend trying that anyways because the results were not very good. They didn't taste delicious at all. They're more like crackers. Maybe if you add a little bit of oil to them, they'll taste more potato chip-like, but wasn't worth it to me. Alrighty, my lovelies, there you have it. Some as seen on TV gadgets that I found at the thrift store. I have some others. Let me know down in the comments if you want to see a part 2. Alrighty, thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that one. I hope you learned something. Please share this video with your friends. Follow me on social media, like this video, subscribe, and I shall see you in the next one. Toodaloo, take care, bye! Alrighty, now it's time for BLT. After another bite of s'mores.